Уважаемые коллеги, добрый день.
At this moment, Vladimir Putin is a war criminal whose arrest warrant has been issued by the International Criminal Court.
Экономики в угле.
But just a year and a half ago, world leaders were meeting with the Russian president, trying to persuade him at the very last moment not to launch a full-scale invasion of Ukraine. Despite the fact that Putin had repeatedly used force and previously invaded his neighboring countries, the West continued to buy oil and gas from Russia and turn a blind eye to Putin's attempts to revive the Russian Empire. Vladimir Putin's imperial ambitions and willingness to invade foreign territories have been no secret since August 2008, when, 15 years ago, he launched his first conquest. However, the world preferred not to notice that short, 5-day war, as a result of which Russia occupied 1/5 of Georgia. No sanctions were imposed against the aggressor, and Russian money was received as eagerly as ever. Even after that war, its organizers were greeted with open arms in the West. Foreign Minister Lavrov,
"We want to reset our relationship."
then Russian President Medvedev, and nominally the Prime Minister, but really the leader of the country, Vladimir Putin. Putin has retained his status as a partner and confidant. Russia managed to avoid isolation. In 2010, Russia's military parade honoring the 65th anniversary of the victory in the war against Nazi Germany was attended by German Chancellor Angela Merkel, Chinese President Hu Jintao, Secretary General of the Council of Europe Thorbjørn Jagland, the presidents of Israel, Poland, the Czech Republic, Latvia, Estonia, and more than 20 other foreign leaders. Leaders from all across the world watched over the Red Square. Internal repression, a strict adherence to political and informational purity, a firm, unrelenting grip on power. All of these have been a constant throughout the entire period of Putin's rule. Although the nature of Russia's authoritarian regime had become incredibly clear by the start of the 2010s, Russia was still treated as a friend. One of its most costly investments to portray itself as a welcoming state were the Sochi Olympics held in 2014, the opening ceremony of which was attended by a number of leaders of democratic states.
The President of the Russian Federation, Vladimir Putin.
However, the Russian Federation didn't manage to maintain its image of a friendly nation for long. In February 2014, right after the Sochi Olympics, Russian troops entered Crimea. Soon the peninsula held a so-called referendum to become a part of Russia. Russian-backed separatist groups started a war in eastern Ukraine. Western leaders were shocked by the ease at which Putin was ready to seize foreign territory.
I never imagined that he would annex Crimea and that eastern Ukraine, practically next door to the European Union, would be the site of such military action.
Russia was excluded from the G8. Sanctions on individuals and businesses were imposed immediately. They included Vladimir Putin's entourage, Russia's political leadership, and many oligarchs. These lists expanded yearly, and those in the West viewed those sanctions as possibly having a critical impact.
The ruble has declined precipitously. Capital has fled. Unemployment has climbed. All because of self-inflicted wounds.
But in Russia, everyone remained calm.
Сейчас у всех на устах, я полагаю, нам не стоит на этом зацикливаться. Но вот в самом начале только скажу всякие ограничения, о которых я так вскользь упомянул в своем выступлении, так называемые санкции. Дурь, конечно, полная.
The reason for this cool-headedness or calmness was the constant supply of Russian energy resources to Europe. The Nord Stream 2 pipeline was even built from Russia to Germany in the latter half of the 2010s. The lack of consequences for invading his neighboring countries made Putin believe that he could seize more and more territory each time. After 2008 and 2014, Putin became sure that the West would not actively oppose him. By the end of 2021, Russian troops were piling up near the Ukrainian border. Western intelligence warned of Russian plans to launch a full-scale war. Meanwhile, the West was still trying to negotiate with Putin. In February 2022, Emmanuel Macron arrived in Moscow to dissuade Putin from invading Ukraine, as did Olaf Scholz. But by this point, Putin has already made up his mind. Throughout this time, one of the main supporters of maintaining a dialogue with Vladimir Putin had been Angela Merkel. In an interview taking place after the start of the war in Ukraine, the former German chancellor said she did not think the tactic was a mistake.
Deshalb falsch gewesen. Also ich sehe nicht, dass ich mich da jetzt sagen müsste, das war falsch und werde deshalb auch mich nicht entschuldigen.